Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Zenith Super Duty build. I don't even know what this episode is going to be about because progress has been pretty slow since the last episode because I've been working on so many other things. I've been trying to finish up the foam insulation on my hangar door before winter gets here, and that's mostly done. I have 2 more squares to glue up. That foam is already cut. I just have to install it and glue it. I'm trying to get this pits in the air. I do have a bad magneto. A buddy of mine that's a mechanic is going to come out and help me either time the magneto or remove it and rebuild it or replace it. And I have got a couple little things done on the Super Duty, and I will start off by showing you the first thing that I did on this airplane. I was working on this center torque tube here that I have installed. And in the front here, you can see that there's I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually another piece that slides on here. Then there's this little metal shim. And this whole torque tube, let me see if I can move it back. It moves back like this all the way up there. But I have to put a bolt down through here. And that bolt comes down through the bottom. And then when you move the ailerons left and right, the bottom of that bolt, there's a bushing that goes on there, hits these 2 screws, and that's your aileron stops. I think it's a really nice designed system. This bolt right here is an AN526A, and I can't find it. So I have to order a new bolt before I can put this in and finish it up. Now the reason I had this slid forward like that is because I can't put this bolt in if this is all the way back because this is in the way. So I have to put this bolt in here, put the bushing on, put the nut on, then push it back. And then back here, you can see these blocks here. I have the bolts in there, and the top 2 here, I could kind of reach behind here and put the nuts on. But these 2 bottom ones, I had to crawl back in the back hole and put those nuts on from there. Now, one thing that's kind of neat is I actually have the fuselage now sitting on all 3 landing gear. You can see I've removed that stand that I had in the back, and now the fuselage is sitting on the gear. It's not really a big deal, but it's kind of neat to see the airplane sitting on the gear. But one of the things I like about having it on the gear instead of sitting on that tail stand is that it raises the tail, which gives me more clearance between the floor and what they call the hellhole, or the big opening on the bottom of the airplane. And since I'm doing a lot of work on the inside, having it higher up off the ground makes it a little bit easier to crawl under there and poke my head up into that hellhole. Obviously, without that stand in the back, the tail would be very heavy. So I have a milk crate with a bunch of weight in it on the engine mount to hold the nose wheel down. Now, speaking of this access hatch, I mentioned in a previous video that I was going to put an L angle here and just tape it to the bottom to stiffen this up so that this AHRS unit doesn't vibrate or move. And what I've decided to do was just rivet it to the bottom and you can see it actually goes under this mount area right here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the light and point at the same time. So anyway, I have this stiffener riveted in here. And the reason I chose to rivet it instead of just using the double-sided tape like I did on my cruiser is because on the cruiser, the airplane was already done and painted when I added that stiffener. Since the Super Duty here is still in the build process and not painted, I figured I'd just rivet this in to make it as stiff as possible. And you can see on the bottom of the airplane, this line of rivets right here is that stiffener. You know, what's kind of funny about building an airplane on YouTube is virtually every single thing I do and I show, somebody will leave a comment telling me how I'm doing it wrong and how they could do it so much better. It's funny, and it's just the nature of YouTube. But now, here is your chance to give me some input on what you would do with these 3 switches. So here is my dilemma. I have 3 switches I need to place. One of them is a master switch, and you can see this switch is one of those locking ones you have to pull out to move. It's the same one that I have in my cruiser. I really like that for a master. So I have a master switch, an avionics master, and a fuel pump. And so with those three switches, one of them is going to be right here, and the other two will be down here. Now you can see this is obviously the key, and I'm going to have two switches here. So I could have like the master and the fuel pump, and then the avionics master up here, or I could put the master, avionics master, and then the fuel pump switch up here, which I kind of like because the fuel pump would be in front of my eyes and kind of visible and not easily forgotten down here. There's all different ways I can rearrange them. Just trying to figure out the best way to do it. So leave a comment below if you have a suggestion. What I'm thinking, or what I'm leaning towards now, is if you picture getting an airplane and starting the airplane, the first thing I do is turn the master switch on. Then I'd start the engine, and then I'd turn the avionics master on. So everything would be right down here. Like my hand could just turn the switch, start the engine, turn the avionics master on. And then that would have the fuel pump switch up here. So that's what I'm leaning towards, but tell me how you guys would do it. You guys have seen in previous videos this panel here. It was all cut out by Aircraft Specialty. And what I did was I kind of made a drawing and sent it to them, and they aligned everything and cut everything out to the proper size. But one of the little changes I made was this little dimmer switch for the Dynon screens. Originally, this was going to be down in the center console, but I decided to move it up here because I noticed in my cruiser, I don't have a dimmer like this. I just do it on the screen, but I use it quite often if I'm flying in the morning or in the evening. I'm always kind of dimming the screen. So I thought this would be nice up here where it's a little bit more convenient. And it looks nice because it's in line vertically with the trim indicator, and then the trim switch is kind of vertical. So it all looks good together there. And it was easy enough to do. All I had to do is drill a hole and 2 mounting holes. So I didn't have to send this back to Aircraft Specialty to have cut out. I just drilled the holes myself. But anyway, that takes it from the center console and puts it up here. So it's one less thing I'll have in this center console. And speaking of this center console, I've put it back in the airplane so I can, kind of figure out where I want the switches and stuff. But also, this is going to be the parking brake actuator or push-pull thing. It'll get mounted in here, somewhere in here. But the reason I want to put this in here and get this mounted is because as this comes down here, it will have to connect to the parking brake valve, and I'll have to make some sort of little mount as this comes down here. I need a little support or something for this cable. It's probably going to be mounted on this side panel, but anyway, I can get this positioned in here where I want it, cut it to length, have it come down, build a support into here for it so it comes over and it actuates the parking brake. My plan for that parking brake push-pull is I'm probably going to mount it right here. You can kind of see where I had it and then I erased it. But if it's right here, obviously it'll go down and connect to the valve. And then I think what I'm going to do over here is buy another one of these USB charge ports, and I can put that next to it right here so anybody in the front seats can charge their phone or whatever. And what I think I'm going to do is down on the side panel here, I may put a cigarette lighter adapter in there. Just because if I'm out in the bush, out in the mountains, and I need to plug in like an air pump for the tires or something like that, who knows what I would ever use it for, but I might put one of those right here in the side panel. Well, the last thing I have to show you with the center console is this part right here. And a while ago when I was having my panel cut out, I had Steve at Aircraft Specialty make me this template for this section of the center console. And so I used that to trace the lines on here, and I've cut out the opening for the Dynon intercom. Above that is a standard 3.5-inch instrument hole, and that is where I will mount this Dynon D3. And you can tell this is a nice little self-contained unit. It has a GPS antenna with it. And it comes with a mount that plugs right into a 3.5-inch hole so that I can mount it right there. And you'll notice it's completely self-contained. There's no inputs for pitot-static. So this is just kind of a backup for me. And if you use one of these, it's really nice, but you just have to realize that it doesn't display airspeed. You'll be reading ground speed, and your altitude will be GPS based. So everything here is GPS based. But this will go right on here like that and sit above the intercom. And then I'll mount this antenna here somewhere up on the glare shield. Well, this is as far as I can get for now. You can see I've got the parking brake push-pull cable mounted here. I've got it cut mostly to length. I might have to trim it again. I cut it a little bit long just to be safe for now. But it'll come down around here like this. And this cable will get supported on here. I'm gonna make a bracket here that supports the cable. And then obviously this wire gets connected to the arm. Now that can't go any further right now because there's two pieces I need. One of them, if I show you in my cruiser, is this piece here, which is what will hold the end of this cable in one position. And then I need this piece here, which connects this cable to the arm itself. So I've got those on order, and as soon as I get those, I can kind of finish this up. Now the other thing I ordered is a USB charger that mounts next to that push-pull cable. And I ordered the same one you can see that I installed in my pits. And what I like about this one, if I can reach in here and turn the master on, when I turn the master switch on, it displays the voltage. So that'll be kind of neat. Now, one of the other things I'd like to do while I'm in here is I'd like to get these headset jacks mounted. Oops. On my cruiser, I have them mounted behind the seats, which I really like because there's no headset cords going in front of you kind of getting in your way. They kind of just go back here and they're completely out of the way. So I want to mount these back here somewhere, but without having the seats in here and being able to sit in the airplane, I'm not exactly sure where I want them. They'll probably be somewhere around here, but they also could be maybe somewhere further back right here. I'd like to see where the seats sit in here, you know, with the seat backs, and then kind of see what's out of the way. So I think I'll skip that for now until I get my seats. Unfortunately, I won't have my seats until sometime next year. So that will have to wait. Well, I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more done before I head off to work, especially this parking brake. But like I said, I have to order a few parts before I can finish that up. I'm thinking what I can do now at least is take this out and drill the holes in here. No matter how I do mount the switches, there's still going to be two of them down here, so I can drill the holes for that. I can drill the hole for the key, and I can also drill this 3.5-inch hole out here. So at least that would be done. After that is done, I think what I'm going to work on next is I really like to get this door seal put on, because once this is on and I put on the top piece, I can actually start building the doors and get the doors done, and that would be a big step towards finishing all this up. Then after that, I think this frame can come off and get primed and painted, and then I can put this on permanently, maybe get my engine mount painted, so all that would be on permanently. And then after that, then I think I can start mounting the panel and the avionics and running all the wires. So some exciting things coming up, but there are a lot of little boring details that need to get done too. So that's all I'm doing today. I'm off to work. Thank you for watching and keeping up with the Super Duty build. I guess I'll see you on the next video.